Dune Spice Wars, the real-time 4X strategy game currently available on Steam in early access, has gotten itself embroiled in yet another race and gender swap controversy. As of course the game changed Liet Kynes, the Imperial planetologist, from a sandy-haired white man into a black woman, which, considering that he was also the de facto leader of the Fremen, a fiercely patriarchal society, seems to stretch credulity beyond the breaking point. But of course it was done for, well, the reasons we all know it was done, as the excuse for this race and gender swap was because it was in accordance with the movie currently being made and released. A movie which made that change because of diversity, of course, the explicitly political cause. But of course the video game developers had no such motivations, of course not. No political or value judgments here, no, just completely random, you see. That's why we now have Archduchess Armanda Icaz, who used to be Archduke Armand Icaz, who just so happens to be another black woman. Oh, what a coinky dinky winky. You race and gender swapped him into what everyone race and gender swaps white men into: black women. How unique. How very unusual indeed. But again, it has nothing to do with any sort of ideology, of course. No. Completely random. Or so at least the developers want you to think, as whilst this was merely a backlash from a vocal minority, the developers themselves felt the need to come and discuss this vocal minority's concerns in the discussions on the announcement. So, here is the developer responding to, of course, more woke nonsense. Were you advised by the writers who made The Little Mermaid black or Snow White Latina? Essentially accusing them of doing this for political reasons, and the developer says, bro, it's not that deep, bro. It was completely random, bro. We didn't think about it, bro. It's just what happened, bro. He then gets hammered on this point repeatedly because, of course, nobody believes him on this obvious nonsense, and he is forced to expand upon it. I feel like maybe we should spend less time allowing words on the internet have such a profound impact on us and spend more time googling Armand Icaz and seeing where the inspiration for our version of the character might have been derived from. The gender swap was because it works with the world we've built, an alternative universe to the books, see Liet Kynes, and balances out the leaders of each faction a little bit more. Again, bro, it's really not that deep. Of course, this reveals that either developer is ignorant, simply, stupid, or malicious. It's really only one of the three, as you've already admitted now that you've done it for political reasons, for ideological reasons, because here's the thing. Why did you do it? Well, to balance out the roster. Why would that matter? What value would it be to you if the roster is gender and racially diverse? Because normally, most of us don't spend a whole lot of time thinking about race and gender, and we'll simply look at the books and go, okay, well, that character's that character's that, there you go. But for you, this has intrinsic value, to the point where you have indeed, as you say, built your alternative universe around race and gender. Sir, you are either ignorant of what you are doing, or you're a racist. It really is only one of two options here. Because, okay, ignorance is a defense in this case because most people simply don't understand the connection between them, but you have made a value judgment. You have elected to reject a presumably white, straight male in favor of a black female because it balances things out and fits the universe you wanted to create. That is a value judgment, and there is no way around it. I'd also just like to point out that it is incredibly unrespectful. It is, well, disrespectful is the word I was looking for there, to the work of the man whose name and book and fame you are so blatantly borrowing. Oh, you have no problem slapping Dune on your video game, of using his universe, of using Frank Herbert's fame to push your products, but it has too many white men in it. We've got to balance that out. We've got our alternative universe, you see. Why do you deserve to do this? What entitles you to this man's work, this man's universe, this man's creation that you clearly don't actually approve of? What actually does entitle you to that? What value judgment have you made there beyond, well, it'll probably make our game more popular and sell more copies? They also, of course, then eventually stopped the conversation because they realized that they were being pushed into a corner, as they couldn't actually defend this in any non-ideological way. That is the problem. Again, you are making a value judgment. And if you don't recognize that, well, we've at least managed to detect which one out of the two is the reason for the selection. Now, the Archduchess's design herself, I don't even necessarily mind all that much. It's a bit of a Bride of Frankenstein thing. And if you were going to do that, why not just make a completely new house then? Why not make a completely new one? Now, there's been lots of calls to make house ordos, but I will say that they probably can't do that for the simple reason that they were created by a different game, and so the rights to house ordos is probably owned by, what, EA at this point or something? So they couldn't just do that. But seeing as they have no problems just inventing stuff out of thin air, pulling it out of their arse and justifying it thereafter, like how guns can work on Arrakis, for example, without it killing everyone within 100 square kilometers, I see no reason why you couldn't simply make shit up, instead of taking a man's creations, the man's lore, and simply twisting it for your own ideological or ignorant reasons. I expect people would in fact enjoy that more, as you can say that it's a vocal minority, and you know what? It probably is. I am sure by now the people who care about this are probably a small group. The people who are just so sick of you forcing your nonsense into absolutely everything again and again, that most people simply just abandon it. They'll probably simply see it and go, okay, fine, uninstall, and be rid of it. People are already asking for refunds as well, incidentally, because again, this is a sign of what you value, rather than what you should be valuing, like, you know, gameplay in a video game, who knows, weird things like that. And it's not a very good sign in general for a developer to care more about the balance of the races in its game than, you know, simply making something new, creating something. If you are, as you are saying, reimagining Frank Herbert's universe, and that is what gives you a license to use it as you see fit, how about you actually imagine something? How about that? How about you create something, maybe? Maybe you could even create something that might fit into that universe. You know, working within the confines of the thing that you have no problems using as a sales pitch. You'd think that would be the least you could do, maybe? See, I gotta admit, I'm being a bit belligerent in this video here, but it is because this is actual, unironic ignorance. And I kinda hate it. It is the NPC brain. The whole, well, diversity is good, right? I've been told this growing up, so surely it's just good. And they've never stopped to consider this idea, to analyze it, to think what actually goes into that. Because if you do, you end up with, oh, that's right, we do seem to value the racial makeup of our characters for some weird reason. Why do we do that? Why do we care if this character is male or female? Why do we care if the characters in a strictly patriarchal setting are balanced around race or gender? If not for the sake that race and gender itself has inherent value to us. Well, that does make us strangely obsessed with these concepts. It shouldn't really have that much of a bearing on a modern day video game, should it? At the very least, it should not have anywhere near as much bearing as being truthful to the setting and the game and the book, etc., that you are currently using to sell your product. And hey, with the Liet Kynes things, at least I can see the argument. Alright, the movie was doing it, and you wanted to benefit from the movie's PR as well. You wanted to cynically take advantage of that, just like you were taking advantage of Frank Herbert's name and the book. Okay, at least you're being honest about it. But now, you're not being honest anymore. you are lying about this, well, you might not, you might simply not know, again, need to remind myself of that, but if you are actually unaware of why this matters, you really need to take a little bit of a look at yourself and think why you value these things more than the source material you are using. Oh well. Will this change anything? Probably not, but I do hope that it will at least convince a few more people to investigate their ideas a pinch more closely and to see that this is more than just balancing it out for no reason whatsoever, and perhaps see the developer in the light that they shed upon themselves. Till next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.